Hello, hello. Welcome to the Millionaire Millennial. I'm your host, Stack Banks. You're now tuned in to the world's most powerful financial podcast in the world. So today's episode, we're going to specifically talk about a few things. Those of you who've been following along for a while may notice that we are now live. You've got video feed of me. We're coming live from my apartment. Make of that what you will. I'm sure plenty of people will be in the comments commenting on whatever's going on in the background, but whatever, these are my personal things. And it is what it is. Specifically though, what we're going to be talking about in today's episode is what wealth and what getting rich looks like for you. So most people, I think, want to hear like a one size fits all answer to this, right? Everyone wants to hear, do this, you'll get XYZ, or, this amount of money put into this investment is a guaranteed thing. There's no guarantee with anything in life, first and foremost, right? So let's start there. When you're dealing with money and investing, quote unquote, what people like to call investing, a lot of it, more often than not, really truly is betting. It might be educated. It might come from a place of using knowledge and using traditional forms of data or data processing that people have used in order to get to a certain result, right? That doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It doesn't mean that you're going to get into that market at the right time to make that happen. That's with anything in life, whether it's real estate. There's plenty of people who went into real estate and lost money. Same with the stock market. Same with crypto. There's no one guaranteed pathway to success, and there's no one guaranteed pathway to financial freedom, and there's no one size fits all for everybody. But there are a couple things that everyone and anyone can do to get you on the path there. So number one, as far as understanding money, that's a personal journey. If you are not invested in learning about money, if you're not invested in yourself or learning about finances or learning about the world markets or being an entrepreneur or getting a side hustle or anything like that, if it's something that you think this is all too hard, too complicated, then it will be. Everything is about mindset and mentality. With that being said, just because that you're invested in this and you are curious and pushing towards this journey does not mean that it will be easy. Doesn't mean that you're going to learn about finances and then finances are going to flow your way, right? There's plenty of people who are in business and have very sharp-minded people with very smart plans laid out, and their businesses fail. It happens all the time. So really, one of the major things in life, what we have to understand personally, right? A lot of people will tell you and will probably critique me, and they can say what they will, but being rich and being financially wealthy, yes, that's a numbers thing for sure. But I think you have to first understand that money is not going to buy you happiness. I mean, money will buy a Ferrari, a Lambo. It'll buy financial security. It will make you. It can buy varying degrees of happiness, but it won't make you happy with yourself, and it won't make you happy with people around you, and it won't fix any loneliness that you may experience in life. That's not what money's necessarily for. Not for everyone in the grand scheme of things. But I digress. So I think there's a couple things that we first have to take into account, right? Number one, with money, if you want to be involved in that world, if you want to educate yourself, if you want to know about the world of finances, then that's where your focus will end up at. Obviously. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people who critique that. Also, that someone throws me off having this webcam here for the first time, but it is something that I want you guys to experience with me and see my face and my reactions. And sometimes I do have a kind of a delayed reaction to certain things, but it's just me thinking, or thinking esoterically but about certain things that I'm bringing up, but not to get too far off into the weeds. But like I said, number one, your focus will be where you put it, right? If you are financially motivated and you are willing to find a way towards something, whether it's the path of entrepreneurship, whether it's saving, whether it's investing, whether it's real estate, you'll find a way there. Doesn't mean necessarily you're going to be successful at it, or that you're going to be in the market at a time that the market, or in the market long enough where the market will reward you with a payoff for getting into it, right? We can only hope. That's where preparation comes in, and I think more so than anything, that's what this has been a preface to help you guys understand that, right? And so, number one, everything I say on here is not financial advice. It's not to be taken as financial advice. It's not necessarily education either, right? Because for all you guys know, I'm just some guy on the internet. I encourage you to do your own research, right? I know what works for me. I know what has worked for me in my journey. I know what I'm skeptical of, and what I'm skeptical about. And this podcast is hopefully a way to bring value to you guys as my listeners and to be on this journey with me, right? So there's going to be times on this podcast where we bring people on, CEOs and people who I'm not 100% familiar with necessarily their backgrounds or where their heads at or what they do. I can fill you guys in on, to a degree, what I do, and who I am, and what I think of certain businesses and business people. But most of this is to give you guys a glimpse into this world and to make your own decisions first and foremost. To speak on money and wealth and accumulating that, I think number one of the biggest things in life, what we have to understand is you have to work, right, in some way, shape, or form, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for a company or whatever, and you have to be able to save money. And I know there's gonna be a slew of people in my comments talking about how, rent's expensive, your bills are expensive, all these things. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. And for some of you, it might mean getting a second job, third job, leaving any of those jobs and going getting better jobs, getting qualified, certified, switching careers, getting a degree. Maybe it's giving up on the job that you had that you thought having a degree in would get you paid, and it's not. It's all personal choices. Some people are going to have $10,000 and need to get into real estate. It's all a personal journey. But I think what you have to do first and foremost is take ownership of your own personal finances and your financial journey, and realize that you're the one in control. And then you have to try and educate yourself as much as possible and trust and use your own judgment when you run across people on the internet, on podcasts, whatever, and you don't know, if you should trust what they say. Vet it against, not necessarily experts, or I mean, I guess yes, vet it against experts, but more importantly, vet it against your own research. Using YouTube to research people who are on YouTube might not necessarily be the best approach. Maybe going and educating yourself on the actual subject at hand through your library and finding out what is taught to professors or to the people who actually require the certifications in the fields, right? So some of you who are interested in day trading, you know, the internet can take you so far, right? But actually going and getting the reading material to get your Series 6 or your Series 7, you know, for those of you who aren't day traders, but, you know, looking into what it takes to actually get your certification to day trade for these companies and picking up some of the reading material and looking into it might be beneficial to you. So, not to get too far off into the weeds of all that, because all of that is to a degree vague and intentionally so. But number one, I think what you guys need to do is put money up. Just cut back on costs as best you can, right? I think a lot of it is a reality check and a lifestyle check. Are you eating out too much? Do you spend too much on certain things? Are there ways that you can cut back on your living expenses and pocket some of that money and just save it for a rainy day? And there's going to be times, especially in America, where you spend money. In my personal belief, we live in a capitalistic society, and the urge and the uh what do they call that? The retail therapy, it's a real thing, right? And also sometimes you need something, right? You might spend a lot of time in the kitchen, right? And if only you had a certain pot or pan or something like that, and that would help you get in and out quicker and on with your day, it might be worth the money and the convenience to make that happen. Now, I think all of that is up to you as a person, and you have to take real ownership and responsibility, right? Of all of that. Are you spending too much on gadgetry? Do you spend too much on Uber Eats? Is your car payment out of control? Are you living in a place that you can't afford to impress people that could care less and that you should care less about? So I think number one is cutting back expenses and then saving some money. And then I think number two eventually is investing in yourself. And whether it's something that's going out and starting a business, whether that's investing in crypto, whether that's investing in the stock market, whether that's investing in home ownership or retail or commercial property, whatever that may be, that personal vehicle. And then it's up to you to go into whatever financial vehicle it is that's your eventual pathway towards retirement or financial freedom, whatever that may be, and finding out as much as you can about it from people who have done what you want to do in it, right? So this will be a shortened podcast today, especially now that you guys are able to actually see my face and figure out some of the things that I'm talking about, and maybe hopefully create some engagement. And if you guys want, you can follow me at the Millionaire Millennial on Instagram, also at Stack Banks on Instagram as well, or excuse me, Stackbanks dot I believe official. There's gonna be a lot of new information coming out within the next few months and the next year from this platform, from myself specifically on finances. I'm actually working in the Web3 and tech space, and I'm going to have a couple different founders um, and business people on this podcast as well over time. And so it's something I want to provide you as my listeners as much value as possible. And also to have it as something that I'm able to record and capture the value that I get from the businesses and from the CEOs and business people that I bring onto this cast. And so, sorry if this cast has been a little bit rambling. Like I said, this podcast was made to be 20 minutes or less. Please follow us on all our social media channels and uh, look for us Mondays, typically Mondays and Fridays. If not, we do release bi-weekly. So